everyone, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you guys can tell, is a book haul. It's from my winter to spring book haul because I apparently forgot to do one for both those seasons, so here we are. And I know it's been like 2.5-ish weeks since I last uploaded. When I was uploading, I just wasn't happy with how the video had turned out for last week's video, so I took an extra break in the week before. As we all know, there was a lot of BLM stuff going on and I wanted to be present, educating myself and trying to learn more about kind of the treatment of black people and basically everywhere. So with that being said, I am going to leave a link of resources where you can like sign petitions and like petitions that don't need to be signed anymore, or not petitions, donations that don't need to be signed anymore, as well as other ways for you to help if you don't have money at the current moment. So yeah, I will leave those links down below and hopefully they can educate you a bit more on the topic than I ever will be able to. I am not well versed in that topic, and even if I was, I would not feel comfortable speaking about the situation considering I am not black. So like I said, everything for that will be linked down below so you guys have those resources ready to you, available, and I'm sure you've seen them floating around on Instagram and like Twitter and all that stuff. My plan for like the winter and the springtime was to just not buy many books, so I could go ahead and finish my TBR, unless it was for a read along. Didn't work out very well. So let's get into it. The first two books I'm going to start off with are the ones that I have on my Kindle, and the first one is Accusations, Forbidden Stories from North Korea by Bandy. This is a collection of short stories around like the 1990s North Korea. They are fictional stories that someone had sent over to get published outside of Korea and are now here. The next one is A Violet Fire by, I forget who the author was. This was on, like, I think it was free to download on Tor. TB from TB Can has been trying to get me to read this book for a hot minute. All I know is that it has vampires. That's all. The next set of books, and I say set because it comes in a box set, is one that I found in a thrift shop, and we all know how much I love this series, or at least a movie series anyway, and that is the entire set of the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Yeah, I found these at the bookstore, and I think not the bookstore, at Goodwill, and I wasn't planning on buying a book, but like I saw it and it was like 10 bucks, and my sister was like, why not just get them, because I believe these are the original covers just like reprinted on like a newer set, if that makes sense. So like I really just can't, oh, I made a mistake. I just could not like get them. So now I have all 7 books, even though I already had the 7 books in a bind up, which I do own. If you guys don't know what Chronicles of Narnia is about, it's about these two, specifically the first like 3 books, I believe, or the first 3 or 4 books, or like the middle 4 books, are about these siblings called the Pevensies who are sent away during World War II, I believe, and there they kind of run into this wardrobe that sends them off into Narnia. And they are kind of the chosen ones meant to save Narnia from the evil that is in there. And then there are also like other chronicles, like the first one is like the Magician's Nephew, then we have the Silver Chair and the Last Battle, all of which chronicle, I believe, Caspian's journey. So excited to eventually reread these books. I haven't read them in a long time. I think the last time I read them was for class, and that was because I was writing an essay for an entire semester, like a series of essays for an entire semester on the books. The next book that I got in the haul is actually a book that I did not buy. It was a book that was given to me for Christmas, and that is Other Words for Smoke by Sarah Maria Griffin. This is a YA fabulism novel following these 2 siblings who go visit their aunt, and their aunt has a lot of like, it's very witchy. It's in Ireland. There's bisexual rep in this book, as well as other queer rep. Really good. I enjoyed it. I do have a full review for it, and I will leave any reviews that I have for these books down below, either if it's Goodreads or just a video, so check those out if you want to know my thoughts, because I have a lot of books and I'm not going to be able to give you guys all of my thoughts. The next one was a recent purchase, and that is for a group read along of mine. My friends from the original group chat ended up deciding that we wanted to start reading adult fiction books to slowly like break away from young adult, and one of the books was Bandy, as you guys know, and this next one is Black Tides of Heaven by J.Y. Yang. I have already finished this book. I don't have a review on it. I'll have my June and May wrap up that'll explain what I thought about this book, but the most I can say is that it's good, but I don't think I'll be continuing on with the series, and I'll explain more in my wrap up in the next coming weeks. The next set of books I bought was for another read along. My friend TB Maddie and I decided to read through one of Maddie's favorite series, which was the Dragori series. The first book is Cloaked in Shadow by Ben Alderson. Then we have Found in the Night, and the final book is Poisoned in Light. It's a fantastical YA novel following Zachariah, who is currently a elf who can do magic, but as he and his friends were sent over to the king, they are somehow like somewhat kidnapped, but also somewhat like enlisted to become part of the king's army because they are all shifter elves. However, Zachariah doesn't fit in the exact category of a shifter elf, and in his attempt to avoid public eye being like cast on him, he ends up getting the attention of the very sweet and very lovely Prince Hadrian. And the series follows that. I have more reviews. Yeah, I have a video review of the first book and then my Goodreads reviews of the next two books, so just keep an eye out for those in the description below. The next book is another gift that I got for Christmas, and that is This Is How You Lose a Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. This is an author duo who wrote this short, cute little novella. This is set in a futuristic world where the current teams are fighting for timelines. There are several timelines they're just kind of messing with, and these two characters, Blue and Red, are from opposing sides, and they fall in love through these letters. So this entire novella is written in their letters. I have already read this book. I enjoyed this book, and there were things I was not expecting that happened that like tore at my heart, and I can't get into it because I have I have a Goodreads review that has all that fun stuff. The next set of books is one that I actually read for another read-along, and that is the Hunger Games trilogy by Suzanne Collins. I already have the original like covers, but because I'm an aesthetic hoe, I wanted to get the 10-year special edition for my reread. So I got the Hunger Games books, and I'll show you guys the covers because they are gorgeous. I wish I got the foiled ones, but also I like the aesthetic of like the white and then the foil. And it's not as like jarring as like the original covers, which are gorgeous in their own way, but just not my not my cup of tea. If you guys don't know, the Hunger Games trilogy follows Katniss Everdeen, who volunteers as tribute to protect her younger sister Prim from the Hunger Games, which is kind of like a weird survivor situation where everyone tunes in to watch as 24 kids go ahead and kill each other to become the victor of that year, and this happens every year. And her sister was the one who was chosen for the 74th Hunger Games, so she volunteers as tribute, and then it chronicalizes the situations that happen after the fact. The next book that I bought was supposed to be for a read-along, but you know, life happens and we just kind of put a pause on it, and that is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. This is now a TV show, which is why I wanted to buy this book in the first place. It is a historical fantasy situation where this woman from, I think, World War II, she was a nurse, she ends up traveling back in time to the Scottish Highlands in 1743, and this entire series just follows her. I've been meaning to read this book for a while now because I want to watch the TV show. I really do, just because I'm like semi-attracted to the cast, and like I'm a slut for historical fiction. It's unfortunate, but I am. But I don't want to do that without at least picking up the first book and seeing how I like that, and then watching the first season and then maybe watching the continuation, the next seasons, without having read the next books, or however I want to do it. I need to pick this up sometime soon. I've heard good things about this book. I heard the TV show is well loved, so, and it's on Netflix, so I don't have to pay like an extra freaking add-on for it. So one day I will get to you. And the cover is like really kind of like jarring in comparison to the other covers I picked up, just because they've all been pretty like somewhat neutral, and this one's just like a weird indigo blue. No, it's more of a royal blue now that I'm thinking about it. The next 3 books were actually thrift store purchases. My friend and I went to Berkeley for a Saturday, just for a nice little day trip out, and we went to a couple of bookstores, and this was one of the places that we went to. The first one is Friday Black by Nana Kwame Aji-Brenya. This is an anthology of short stories about basically being black in America and different kind of fantastical sci-fi futuristic elements. I have already read this book. I read it I think in February. I enjoyed it. I think that this author has a lot to go off of and like grow from. I just had a couple instances in the book, in the short stories, where I was like, I don't know what you're trying to say. I don't understand. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that I see more of novels or even short stories from this author. So the next one is one that I hope to get to this month, and that is The Canterville Ghost, The Happy Prince, and Other Stories by Oscar Wilde. I like Oscar Wilde, as you guys are aware. I love the picture of Dorian Gray. I have like 3 different covers, the third one being the uncensored version of Dorian Gray. So like, we know that I like Oscar Wilde, and I have also read his collection of children's stories. So I've been meaning to read more of his like adult work. So I'm hoping to get to this month, and hopefully I'll enjoy it as much as the rest, because I know that he didn't really publish like big novels aside from Dorian Gray. The rest were just pretty much short stories and plays, and I think a couple poems. So I'll let you guys know if I get to this. Again, with this jarring cover, like, it's probably messing up my white balance, not gonna lie, but like, it's also so pretty. The last book that I bought on my day trip was actually a history book, and that is Alexander the Great, a novel by Nikos Kazantzakis. This is and it's translated by Theodora Vasilis. I don't know a lot about this. It just says, oh, it's not a history book. I guess it's a novelization of Alexander the Great's life and like how he's like this super romantic kind of hero, though Conqueror would be more like accurate, but we're not going to get into that. And I believe the author is actually Greece. Yeah, the author is Greek, so this should be interesting to read. I don't know when I'm going to read this, but like probably soon, now that it's not just like the endearing history of Alexander the Great. It's like a fictionalization, but that also means that I have to do research, because I don't know a ton about Alexander the Great. All I know is that he slept with a copy of, I believe, the Iliad under his bed, and he really shipped Achilles and Patroclus. So the next book that I purchased was actually, again, for the read-along, but it's also a new release, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the story of Coriolanus Snow, who grows up to be President Snow, when he's like during the 10th Hunger Games, just a little bit after the war with the Capitol. I have a full review on this. I will leave that link down below for you guys so you guys know my thoughts. I think it was a good addition to the series, but did it bring much like new information to the table? Not really. And could you get away with not having read this book to read the rest of the books, or just read the original trilogy and leave it at that? Definitely. The next one is another one that's a new release that came out in March, and that is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is a new spin-off series following the kids of the people from the Infernal Devices. I really love this book. I have a full review of this down below. Not a full review, a full reading vlog if you guys haven't got a chance to watch that yet. It's filled with pretty spoilery thoughts, so hopefully you guys can go ahead and enjoy it. Yeah, this follows Cordelia Carstairs. She and her family traveled to London to live there with like friends after the scandal of her father, and there she kind of runs into some messes. And like, I love this book so much, though my biggest problem with it at the current moment, there are a few problems, but my problem with it is that while she's Persian, I would have really liked to have seen her with black hair, just because like I said, she is Persian, and like I feel like we don't need to have that trope of like having like an Asian or like a POC like a POC character have like some kind of European feature for them to be seen as attractive, or like the heroine. Like, I understood a little bit with Jem, because he was like poisoned with like drugs and like, you know, things that like magical drugs. But I feel like with Cordelia, it is a little weird that she's the only redhead in the family. And like, it even touches upon the fact that since Alistair, her brother, dyes his hair blonde. So like, I would really like for this little like trope to be gone. The next book that I purchased was one that I actually got for myself at the beginning in January, because my friend Jessie from Bow Ties and Books was raving about this online, and I was like, okay, if they're saying that it's good, I'm gonna pick it up and see, because it's been a minute since I read like a post-apocalyptic kind of book, and that is After the Flood by Cassandra Montague. This is an adult post-apocalyptic world, like I said before, where this woman loses her daughter. Her like eldest daughter is kidnapped from her, and now a couple of years later, she and her youngest start to look for her eldest daughter through this like kind of new world where everyone's just living on boats, and like a flood kind of literally wrecked most of the world, if not America. The next book is another adult fantasy, and this is one of my most disappointed reads of 2020. If you guys have not seen that wrap-up, I will leave the link down below, as well as my actual Goodreads review, and that is The Priority of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is an adult high fantasy following several perspectives of around the world, this like fantastical world involving dragons. I have a lot of reasons why I was highly disappointed with this book, and 10 out of 10 I will be unhauling, so I'm only having it here so we can immortalize my disappointment with this novel. The next one is another box set, and that is the Six of Crows duology by Suzanne Collins by Leigh Bardugo. This is a spin-off of the original Grishaverse trilogy, and we follow a new set of characters in Ketterdam, which is like a fantastical mock-up of Amsterdam, you know. And now we have a group of thieves who are trying to pull off the biggest heist that anyone has known to man. Now, you guys have seen this. I have 2 vlogs on these books per se, but like, let's take a minute for the sprayed edges, because I love these sprayed edges. Just love them. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I am officially a fan of the Six of Crows duology. A very big fan of the Six of Crows duology. The second to last book is another new release, and I've been meaning to get to it because it's one of my favorite authors, but we haven't had the time. And that is the Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City. Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. This is her adult fantasy debut. I don't know much about this book. All I know is that like it's more modern, and there's different breeds of fairies, I believe. And yeah, it has a lot of mixed reviews, which is why I've been kind of like hesitant to pick it up. But also I feel like if you're a Sarah J Maas fan, mixed reviews kind of come with being like with enjoying her books. So I'm hoping that I'll be on the side that enjoys it, because I love Sarah J Maas. I think she's a talented author, but like, this is a kind of scary book to pick up. And one day I'll pick you up, maybe when quarantine is over. And the last book in this haul, y'all gotta remind me to never make a 2-season book haul again, because like I don't even know how I'm gonna take a freaking thumbnail picture. But the last book in this haul is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is another spin-off of the original Grishaverse trilogy, this time following Nikolai several years after the Grishaverse ends, and I think several months after the Six of Crows duology. This is Nikolai and the rest of the Ravka gang trying to keep together their small and failing country. I really enjoyed this. I have a vlog of this which kind of talks about my feelings more, and I will have more thoughts on this in my wrap-up, which is going to be my June wrap-up coming up in the coming weeks. That is it for the books that I purchased from like November to May. And like, thinking about it, this is not nearly as large of a haul as my fall haul, but still fairly hefty, considering I told myself I wasn't gonna buy any dang books, and guess who bought books? But I've been doing pretty well not buying books recently, so we're gonna keep up that speed, and hopefully I will enjoy the rest of my life and can blast through my TBR. But if you guys have read these books or would like me to do like a reading vlog of some of the books that I have not read, which like out of this pile it's probably like 5 books, maybe, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you guys have read any of these books, let me know if you guys had similar thoughts to what my reviews are saying, or if you guys have a book you want me to pick up in the nearest future, also let me know. But until next time, hit like, subscribe, comment, and again, all the BLM resources that I can find, I will be leaving a link down below for you guys, as well as like any LGBT ones that are coming, since it is Pride Month. So happy Pride to everyone. As a fellow bisexual, happy Pride. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. And before I say bye, let's just take a moment to like enjoy this like jumpsuit that I have. It's like a nice overall kind of like look, but it's not. I'm just enjoying it from my like very limited sphere right now because I still no contacts. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.